Welcome to Days Behind, where we unveil the trivia and stories behind holidays and national days. Folks, today let's dive into the significance of January 20th. Let's talk about America's obsession with January 20th. It's a date that holds a special place in the hearts of many Americans. It's not just National Cheese Lovers Day, although it totally should be. Imagine a day dedicated to celebrating all things cheese: cheddar, brie, Gouda, you name it. But there's more to January 20th than just cheese. This date marks Presidential Inauguration Day in the good old US of A. It's a day when the nation comes together to witness the peaceful transfer of power. Every 4 years, on this very day, America gets a new leader. The president takes the oath of office, pledging to serve and protect the country, or at least the same leader with a slightly worse haircut. It's a momentous occasion filled with pomp and circumstance and sometimes a few bad hair days. Now you might be thinking, why January 20th? Why not some other random day in the calendar? Is it because someone found a 2-for-1 coupon for democracy that day? Sadly, no. The reason is a bit more historical and practical. It's all thanks to the 20th Amendment, which moved the date from March 4th. Why, you ask? Well, let's take a trip back in time. Back in the horse and buggy days, it took ages to count votes and travel to Washington. Imagine trying to get all the votes counted and then making the long journey to the Capitol in the dead of winter. Thankfully, we've upgraded to slightly faster methods since then. With modern technology, we can count votes much quicker, and travel is a breeze compared to the old days. Today, millions of people tune in to watch the inauguration on TV or follow it on social media. It's a day of celebration, reflection, and looking forward to the future. So, whether you're a cheese lover or a political junkie, January 20th has something for everyone. It's a day that brings the nation together in more ways than one. Schools teach about the significance of this day, families discuss the importance of democracy, and communities come together to celebrate the enduring spirit of the nation. From historical inaugurations to the present day, January 20th remains a cornerstone of American tradition. It's a day that reminds us of the resilience and continuity of our democratic process. So, next time January 20th rolls around, take a moment to appreciate the history, the cheese, and the democracy. It's a day worth celebrating. Our story begins way back in 1789 with George Washington. You know, the dude on the dollar bill with the fabulous hair? The one whose face is so iconic, it's practically synonymous with American history. Yeah, him. He was sworn in as the first president on April 30th because even the Constitution needs a bit of time to warm up. The event took place in New York City, which was the nation's capital at the time. Imagine the excitement and anticipation in the air as people gathered to witness this historic moment. But his second inauguration, on March 4, 1793, set the precedent for over a century. This time, the ceremony was held in Philadelphia, the new capital. Washington's second term was just as significant as his first, solidifying the young nation's commitment to democratic principles. Now, imagine this. No Twitter, no live streams, no awkward dance battles with foreign dignitaries. News traveled at a snail's pace, often taking weeks or even months to reach distant parts of the country. People relied on newspapers, letters, and word of mouth to stay informed. Back then, news traveled slower than a snail in molasses. The concept of instant communication was unimaginable. Yet, despite these challenges, the American people were deeply engaged in the political process, eager to learn about their new government. Still, Washington's inauguration was a big deal. It was a grand affair, attended by dignitaries, politicians, and ordinary citizens alike. The event symbolized the birth of a new era, one where the power rested in the hands of the people. It marked the beginning of a brand new nation, founded on the radical idea that people could actually choose their leader. This was a revolutionary concept at the time, challenging the traditional monarchies that dominated the world. Washington's leadership set the tone for future presidents and established a legacy of democratic governance that continues to this day. His presidency was not just about leading a country, it was about laying the foundation for a new kind of society, one built on the principles of freedom, equality, and justice for all. Over the years, inaugurations have changed quite a bit. Gone are the days of horse-drawn carriages and top hats. Today we've got motorcades, designer gowns, and enough security to make Fort Knox jealous. But some things remain constant. The swearing-in ceremony, the inaugural address, the peaceful transfer of power, these core elements have stood the test of time. Sure, the speeches might be longer now and the parties a bit fancier, but the underlying message is the same. This is democracy in action, folks. Now let's break down the main events, shall we? The inauguration of a president is a grand spectacle filled with tradition, ceremony, and a touch of modern flair. It's a day that marks the beginning of a new chapter in the nation's history, and it's packed with moments that are both solemn and celebratory. First up, the oath of office. This is the moment when the president-elect officially becomes the president. It's a tradition that dates back to the very first inauguration of George Washington in 1789. The president-elect places their hand on a Bible, or, a stack of phone books if they're feeling particularly secular, and swears to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution. This oath is more than just words, it's a solemn promise to uphold the values and laws of the land. It's a big moment, full of gravitas and maybe a few butterflies in the stomach. Next, it's speech time. The inaugural address is a key part of the ceremony, where the new president outlines their vision for the next 4 years. The newly minted president gets to deliver their inaugural address, outlining their vision for the next 4 years. This speech is often a mix of hope, ambition, and a call to action. It's a chance to set the tone for their administration, and to reach out to both supporters and skeptics alike. It's a chance to inspire, to unify, or let's be honest, to sneak in a few passive-aggressive jabs at their predecessor. The words spoken here can resonate for years to come, becoming part of the nation's collective memory. And finally, no inauguration would be complete without a parade. This is where the celebration truly kicks into high gear. This joyous procession through the streets of Washington, D.C. features marching bands, elaborate floats, and enough red, white, and blue to make Uncle Sam blush. It's a vibrant display of patriotism and community spirit, bringing together people from all walks of life to celebrate the new leadership. Families line the streets, children wave flags, and the air is filled with music and cheer. It's a moment of unity and pride, a reminder of the democratic process and the peaceful transfer of power. As the day comes to a close, the celebrations often continue with fireworks lighting up the night sky, a fitting end to a day of historic significance and national pride. The inauguration is not just a political event, it's a celebration of democracy itself.